Biden was back on Air Force One, and off he goes to a trip to Mexico. Unlike the border, Biden has actually been to Mexico before. During his last trip south of the border as vice president, well, Joe, of course, at that point, brought his son Hunter with him, and he did meet with Hunter's Mexican business partners. Oh, he lied to us. Now, make no mistake, it's time for serious oversight in this country, and it's about to begin. Here with the full report, Fox News contributor Sara Carter. Sara.
Hey, Sean, yes, I'm talking to you. I'm here right now in Eagle Pass. Yesterday, I was in El Paso, Texas, when the president was visiting. I can tell you this, Sean, that El Paso authorities spent months, weeks, days, and hours cleaning up the city before the president's visit. While we were there, I watched as people were taking out recycling bins, throwing things into those recycling bins around Sacred Heart Catholic Church, where hundreds of migrants were still sleeping on the streets. They were throwing them into the bins, and then the trash trucks would show up and they would dump them into the trash trucks. I even watched as they took brand new clothes that had just been donated by residents and were throwing those clothes into the bins as well to get them out of the way and get them off the streets. I spoke to residents as well who told me that that the city had been doing this for weeks but had ignored them and their pleas prior to the president's announced visit. Joe Barraza, he's a resident and a retired Marine. Take a listen to what he had to say. Right now we're seeing the trash trucks, the recycling trucks, they're running with the trash. Has this been going on all day?
We've been here for about 45 minutes, and the truck has been here for about half an hour. And They're probably going to need another one.
Why do you think they're doing this right now?
It's a cover-up, you know what it is. It's to make the people, that make it look good for if President Biden does decide to come and take a look here, or he sends somebody else to do it with a camera that's going to be shown, and in one of their favorite channels, they'll say there's no problem. There never has been, because it's trying to cover all this up, and you can tell because it's a scramble.
Is it frustrating to see your city like this? See it so
all this money is going to get these people food, clothing, shelter, medical. All this is coming out of the American people's pockets.
How does that make you feel?
It's frustrating,
right?
And I'll tell you why. Because you see your town the way it was before. You could walk down the sidewalk. Especially if you're a woman, you're walking down the sidewalk and you see 3 or 4 of these people coming towards you. You're going to go across the street because you're afraid. It didn't used to be that way. You could walk around the city. So yeah, it's frustrating to see all this. You've never seen this here before. You've never seen this. Look at it. Look at all this. People sitting around here on their cell phones waiting for another handout.
Sean, look, the bigger issue for a lot of the residents, too, is the national security implications of this. I spoke to many of the people around the church. They were from Venezuela, Honduras, Guatemala. I asked them, who processed you into the country when you first came across the border? Believe it or not, they said no one. They came in fact, many of them just that day, the day that the president arrived, they came across the border and they just kept walking into the city until they found the church where they had heard that they were being offered food and some clothing. This is a very serious national security concern, residents say, and it's a concern for everybody in the community, including those that are being illegally trafficked into our country. Sean?
You talk about abusing illegal immigrants and not helping them. The president finally shows up for the first time in his life at the border. And what do? They sweep people out, and throw away the generous donations of people in the community to help these illegal immigrants, even though it's wreaking havoc on the city of El Paso.
Yes, Sean. And by the way, many of the people that we spoke to had children. So we saw children as young as 3 years old. I met a girl who was 12 years old who traveled alone with another group of people. This is very concerning. These kids have not been processed into the country. We don't know who's holding them, and we don't know where they'll end up.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.